Hi everyone, my name is Claire and I write on the book blog ClairReads. I thought I'd start off with my first video being about the books that I was planning to read in October, although it is now basically, yikes, it is now basically halfway through October. I thought I'd let you know the books I was planning on reading and the ones I already have read. So this month I have already read a book called Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman, which is this book here. I was trying to go with a slightly spooky Halloween theme, and this one has a picture of the rats on the front and a really beautiful kind of cover style there, which lots of Neil Gaiman books have. This is about London and the world below London, like a weird, supernaturally themed world where rats are revered and there's lots of strange happenings going on there. I read this in a couple of days and I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, which you can see on my Goodreads page as well, so I'll link that below. Yeah, I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. I liked the adventure, I liked the storyline, I liked the characters. I actually liked some of the secondary characters more than I liked the main characters. I read some reviews afterwards saying that they thought the main character was quite boring. I don't think he's boring. I think if this had been a teen book, it would have been kind of a coming of age story, but because he's an adult, people seem to think you should already have come to age at that point, know who you are. I don't think that's necessarily true. And I think that this is kind of a good example of someone who's an adult who maybe their life isn't going quite how they planned, and then something strange happens and that route kind of helps them decide on their own personality. So yeah, I read Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman. I also started to try and read a book called The Resurrectionist by James Bradley. This book is meant to be set in kind of Georgian, early Victorian London, about a group of men who think they're trained to be surgeons, and one of them, their leader, is known as the Resurrectionist. I thought this book was going to be really cool, gothic-y, slightly supernatural themes. I didn't finish it. I got halfway and I realised, why was I wasting my time reading a book I wasn't really enjoying? There wasn't a lot really going on. I didn't really understand the plot. There wasn't anything supernatural going on as far as I'm aware. And then I looked on Goodreads afterwards at the reviews, which I don't really do beforehand. I looked afterwards and it had quite low reviews there saying that they just didn't understand where the plot was going. It was a mishmash. It was basically like a big montage of things going on. You never got involved enough in any of the things happening to care about them. And it was pretty boring. So I didn't finish that one, but I'm counting it as part of my reads this month. I've also got a massive pile here of books that I'm hoping to read by the end of this month, and I'll get onto these in a second. Now, I am kind of cringily currently reading the new Twilight release by Stephanie Meyer called Life and Death, which, as I'm sure you all know, is the gender-bent version of Twilight, in which Edward Cullen is now Edith, and Bella is Beaufort. I'm not really sure how it's meant to be pronounced. Beau or Bew is his short name. I am reading this in an ironic way. I'm not ashamed to say that years ago I was a massive fan of Twilight. I'll go into that in another video maybe one day if I carry on this booktubing business. But I am reading this in an ironic way. I used to be a massive fan of Twilight. I'm not a huge fan of it anymore because my reading taste in matured, and also I absolutely hated Breaking Dawn. But I'm quite enjoying reading Life and Death. It is weird looking back on a book that I probably read about 100 times 5-6 years ago and knew back in my hand and loved it, and then reading it from a different perspective and realising actually not only is this new perspective a bit crap, sorry, but maybe the original wasn't as amazing as I thought it was at the time. I mean, I was only 18 when I read it, and actually everyone else on YouTube seems to have been like 30 when they read it the first time round, which is very different to mine. But yeah, I'm currently live blogging reading that, which is going a lot quicker than I thought because I'm a little bit ill at the moment, so I haven't got much to do. But I've just read chapter 4 and I'll put a link to my live blogging of those down below in the doobly-doo as well. I have a pile of books here and I kind of try to theme these books around Halloween-y style reads. So ones that are slightly spooky or a bit supernatural. I haven't read many supernatural books that are pure fantasy. That's not the right word. I read an urban fantasy recently and some have great atmosphere, but none of them seemed as spooky as these ones, even if they are set in our world or in slightly different worlds. I'm also influenced by the fact that I've been doing the reading challenge on Goodreads, and also one I've got to try, and it's like a list of different types of book to read, and I've got a few left at the bottom of this list that I'm trying to fill up the types of books I haven't read yet. So for example, on that list still that I haven't managed to find is one that I didn't read at school. I read all the books I was supposed to read at school, so I'm not sure what I can do about that. But I chose some of these to fill that gap. So for example, to fit the love triangle section of that challenge, I'm hoping to read by the end of this month The Wrath and the Dawn by Renee Adai, which is a beautiful looking book, and I've seen lots of people on YouTube write about this. It's got a lovely purple cover, the lovely spine there, and actually the inside of it, I've just noticed, has a beautiful picture on the inside. So this I'm hopefully reading by the end of the month. I'm probably going to wait until the half term. I'm a teacher, so I don't get a lot of time to read during the week, and if I do, it's only snippets. I feel this is the kind of book I'm going to want to read in one sitting. I need to wait until I've got a day or a long stretch of hours free, rather than maybe half an hour in the evening before I go to bed. I really need to sleep as I'm a teacher, and that's why I'm ill at the moment as well, so I didn't want to wait till this weekend when I'm not feeling my best reading it. But it looks amazing, the cover's great, and I've heard some really good stories and reviews of this. Also on the list is Neil Gaiman's Smoke and Mirrors. Now this is purely because it matches so well to this front cover. And I also have The American Gods by Neil Gaiman, which is one of my favourite books by him. This has actually been borrowed from my friend Larry, who's lent it to me while she goes travelling around the world, which I'm very jealous about. So this one is about the Holy Grail and some kind of like weird supernaturally elements. I might not get it done by the end of the month. It's literally one I grabbed off the shelf because I thought it goes with my Neil Gaiman theme I'm kind of doing at the moment, but I might not get it finished. I also, for this month, I started reading this a few days ago, but then I can't really remember where I got to, so I'm not really sure how great it is at the moment, is a book called Bellman and Black by Diane Setterfield, who wrote The 13th Tale, which I've heard good reviews as well. I might have read it. I go through stages of reading loads of books and forget what I've read, so I might have read that already. But this says here, a childish act of cruelty with terrible consequences, a father desperate to save his daughter, a curious bargain with a stranger in black, people out my window staring at me, and Bellman and Black is born. Rooks never forget. And actually I do remember there's some creepy kind of bird mentions in this, and it looks quite, there's a huge sticker mark on the front which I don't like. It looks kind of Halloween. I'm now having the amazing first experience of having my phone decide to cut off the end of the video. So anyway, I was talking about Bellman and Black by Diane Setterfield. Yeah, they've got a stick on the front of it, which I don't really like about that, but it seems very Halloween-y. The theme seems to be a bit about death, about making one choices, and it's got lots of birds in it, which are creepy apparently, which kind of matches up to the feather on the front. I think it's a very nice front cover, apart from that sticker mark. It's really soft as well. It's got that kind of like smooth but grippy feel that some books have, and it's got, if I knock my drink down I'll show you. It's got that kind of, lost my page, there we go, that kind of doubled over cover here, which it's a paperback obviously. It's got this little fold over, so I'm using it as a bookmark right now. So that's another book I'm going to try to read. Hopefully I'll finish that by the end of this week, and then there'll still be 2 weeks to go in October. Then I have 2 books which are both, well, I'm saying they're both young adult fiction, but this one could also probably be classified as adult fiction. It was shortlisted for the Guardian First Book Award, and it is Burial Rites by Hannah Kent. And this is about the last lady in Iceland to have the death penalty carried out. Yeah, it's had loads of rave reviews. I think this was going to be one of the books that's based on a true story, possibly, in my book challenge. I'm not really sure, basically. But yeah, it looks really good. It's got a feather on the front cover again, bit of a theme, and it's about death. And I just grabbed it basically. It's towards the end of the year. I thought, why not read a book about death in Halloween, seeing as it is the month where all the dead come back to haunt us. This book here is called Prophecy of the Sisters by Michelle Zink, and I think I've seen reviews of this by YouTubers, possibly Benjamin of Tomes. This looks like it's a stereotypical young adult fantasy. I probably bought this used from Amazon, which I buy my books from, last year actually. I haven't got around to reading it, but it says it's a gothic must read. And when else should you read gothic books but in autumn? And I figured that Halloween is most gothic-y of them all. But if this slips into November, I don't think it really matters too much. It's not too long, so hopefully if I do read it this month, it shouldn't take me more than a couple of days, or probably one sitting. I could read that in. I'd obviously get up and get drinks and food in that time, but I have a tendency to just sit there for ages and read a book all in one go. I'm not very good at waiting for cliffhangers. I can't cope with it. Nice little pilot. And then finally, a book that lots of people have been getting and isn't actually obviously a first read, but rather a buy of a new version of a book, is the fantastic illustrated edition of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. This is on my wish list. I was going to try and wait for it to be Christmas before I got this as a present for myself. I can't imagine anything nicer than opening this up underneath the Christmas. From under the Christmas tree, wrapping paper at Christmas time. But I think I might have been slightly drunk on the bus back from the pub one evening. I don't drink that much, but that sounds like I do. I think I ordered this, and I also pre-ordered the Harry Potter colouring book. It hasn't arrived yet. But I'm so glad I did. It's beautiful. It's hardback, obviously, as you all know. And this is it. Lovely and red. And it's got the nice Harry Potter writing on the spine there. The cover's beautiful and very much an example of the artwork inside. There's a lovely picture of Harry there. You can see that. I haven't really looked for it properly myself yet. So I'm holding off reading it until I read it with my class, because last year I read it with my class and obviously the non-illustrated version, and they absolutely loved it and they Pottermore on. And I can't wait to do a similar thing with my new class this year. They're 8 and 9 year olds, and I think they're going to love it. If I read it from the normal version or even from this version with Pottermore in the background, they absolutely loved it last year. I can't wait. So I'm not going to actually, I'm looking at some of the pictures now because they're beautiful. Oh, it's beautiful. I love Harry Potter. Hence a little time turner. Yeah, I'm going to leave it at that for today. So that was my first ever vlog. I hope that you found that okay. I will hopefully try and upload maybe one video a month at least to start with, just basically saying what I've read so far in a month and what's my plan on reading. I have my blog, which I'll link down below. I have my Goodreads that I'll link down below. And if you're interested in my live blogging of life and death, which hopefully should be quite funny, as I'm enjoying it more than I expected, then that is on my blog as well, and I'll leave links directly to that in the doobly-doo. Anyway, have an absolutely fantastic evening and enjoy the rest of the week. Bye!